Hello, today's video is all about scaling, rotating, and placing assets onto the plane. So as you can see, we start off with our workspace, which is this plane surface right here. And we can again move the plane up and down, side by side. And we can adjust the plane dimension. It does not have to be a square. Your workspace can have a different dimension, such as a rectangle, or make it even looking like a cross section. But today we'll have it as a square, and what I'd like to do first is add the geological layers first. So again, we go back to our asset library, we look at geology, and let's add sand to this. So you can see that it popped right up in terms of the sand asset. We can move this up and down as we wish. But what I'd like to do first is do a scaling factor. And we could do the scale based on these toggles. But in this case, I'm going to go with this factor over here, 0.7, 0.6. And we're going to keep the Z, which is the depth, the same. I'm going to also position it a little bit lower down here. And what I'd like to do now is, you can see that this is active because it's green. I'm going to add another couple of layers just to kind of snap it on top of these. So here's clay, 0.7, 0.6, and you can see that it kind of snaps on right on top of the other sand layer as well. In order to move this, I'm going to go to the very top of position, take these arrows, and I can kind of move it beneath that one as well. Or we could have clay on top if we wish. But in this case, I'm going to put clay beneath. And I'm going to do one last thing. And that I'm going to add a water feature to it as well. So the water feature can be used for a number of different things we'll see in the future videos. But in this case, what I'd like to do is just show it along the sides, acting as the water table. And you can again push this down, bring it forward, and then there you go, you've got that side. If you want to look at the sides, you can also look at it from the different angles, and you can kind of position this as well. And you can scale where your water table is going to be in your model. Next, what I'd like to do is go back to the library, and I'm going to check buildings now. And I'm going to add a residential building to it. And again, you can place this anywhere. What I'd like to do on these assets is to place them first, and then you can kind of scale and rotate, etc. So you can get into scaling it. You can rotate it if you wish. And then again, you can position it to wherever you wish that to go. If we look at contaminants, it's a little bit different. It was purposely made to look like a bubble, if you will. And again, you can move this around. What's pretty interesting about this is that it shows the dimension along the side if you want. And you can put this right down. Again, going back to scale, you can make this very tight, and you can kind of move that back into place against the wall. And it's supposed to show that sort of dimension, if you will. Going into scaling, if you want to see some, if you want to make this kind of finer tuned, if you will, you can get into scale and just say you can push this to a 4. You can kind of shrink these down. What I'd like to do when I get into a place where I like, and maybe these toggles are a little bit too coarse, is you can get into the scale bar and just kind of look at some of these numbers and rescale these. This is all normalized to its size, and just kind of toggle through some of this. So you can make this, say, 0.9, kind of see that the x-axis shrinks it a bit smaller. And if you went to 5, you can kind of see that it shrinks it down. So you can use these instructions and different ways of doing it. On this side, for your actions, for positioning, rotating, and scaling. And then with the plume itself, you can move this around upside down, or you can put it along the side. So this is a very unique way of showing your plumes in 3 dimensions. Everything else is pretty standard. Again, you can kind of snap things on. You go back to positioning. You're just using toggles back and forth. And one thing that I want to make sure people understand is that you can make these very, very small if you wish, and then move those into their proper spots. So you can, again, make things very, very small if you want. And if you have other dimensions that, say, you want to just look at a certain element, you can make these extremely small, and then you can position them into place. So it's very, very quick as you rotate through these. So that is the instructions for positioning. It's very straightforward. There's lots of options in order to move things around and make things big or small, and scale them appropriately for your site. And what I like to do first is add the geological layers first, if you will, and scale those into place. And then you can add your top features second. I think that works out well for the models I've been creating. So thanks for looking at this video on positioning and scaling, and be looking at some other features of the model and in our next videos. Thank you.